There are 8 things you need to remember in this episode. Mooses, pluralized, is not meese. The Guns of Navarone is a good movie, but not a great movie. Bridget wears crop tops at 40 below. Apples grow in temperate zones. My lips are sealed. And Andrew has gone missing. And I think Igor's behind it. This is BBDs. Hey folks, welcome to Bad Bible Debates. I'm Joel, and I'm here with Mezzo. He's not in here, but he's outside. He'll be in here in a second. He's just arguing with something over what the correct plural of mooses is. He thinks it's meese just because of gooses, but it's not. It's probably Mises. I actually don't know what it is, but it's difficult because there's also a language barrier. The other guy is just like saying what it is in Swedish, and Mezzo's arguing that. Anyway, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but we're here. We're going to get into the debates, and it's going to be super exciting. Nothing strange going on here, except that it is 40 below, and I don't know. Bridget's wearing a crop top. I'm freezing. I'm wearing a winter jacket in here, but she's just wearing like as if she's going to a club or something like that. Huh? I don't know what that means. Maybe she's telling me she's going to... What club? What club? Okay, anyway, we should just play the clip. Can we play the clip? Play the clip. BBDs. Faye, are you a Christian?
I am a Christian, yeah, but I have a very interesting take on this, and it's that I in some way agree with you.
On what, the Sunday, on the Sabbath day, or
both? So I think definitely with the Bible, I am very comfortable in my religion that I can. Sorry, that's my daughter in the background. She's very happy.
She is having a ball.
She's having the time of her life. I feel very comfortable that I can have a connection with who I see God as without the Bible. I think there's so many things in the Bible that haven't aged well, definitely through translations, that I don't think I can sit here and be proud of. I don't think I can sit here and say that I stand by this.
It sounds like you have dumped the book, essentially. You sort of have a notion of who you want God to be. You look through this book and see if you can see a little bit of that God in there. You take those, what they call cherry pick those verses, and then you toss the rest of it because you realize it's just heinous and disgusting.
Kind of. I think there's parts of the Bible that shows me the God that I see. There's some parts of the Bible that show me a God that everybody else wants him to be. I don't know if that makes sense.
Does everybody else want him to be?
People who want to utilize him to harm and utilize God as an excuse to harm. And I think that's scary. I left church years ago simply because of it.
I get it, you like the idea of this God, but the God is not in the book. If you want to worship the God of the Bible, if you believe that is a real God, I feel like you have to kind of take the whole thing as like the thing as a whole, don't you? Or how do you decide? Do you realize that you've just got like this cognitive dissonance? You're picking and choosing, and it's just like, so you're like totally on board with this.
In a way, yes.
So you believe in a God of your own imagination who just brings you comfort because you realize it's not the God of the Bible, even though you can see bits and pieces. But it can't be. The God of the Bible ordered his people to kill a bunch of babies. He didn't know how women's bodies worked, so he ordered women, virgins essentially, to be killed for not bleeding on their wedding night. He ordered, he condoned slavery. He said, go for it, have slaves. The list goes on, right?
100%, but I also find the good in God. I find the good in God who brought us Jesus, who taught us love and taught us compassion, taught us work, taught us to care for people who were different from us, if they were rich, poor, black, white, Jew.
That's not true. That's not true. We could explore every single one of your claims, and maybe like 2 or 3 of those things you want to attribute to Jesus may be somewhat accurate. But for the most part, a lot of the things you just said were things that probably are your values that you want to attribute to Jesus. They're not Jesus' values. They're not from the book.
I mean, Jesus did all of those things. He taught, he led.
You tell me where in the Bible Jesus is saying to love everyone regardless of their color, creed, religion, blah, blah, blah. Because he actually says to hate your family and to, he's going to split up families, probably because some of them don't believe in him. He also says to kick the dust off your feet when people who aren't worthy and don't give you the, validation you need.
Could you tell me the book that these are in?
So Matthew 10, let's go look at Matthew 10. I'm going to go down to the NRSVUE because I'm trying to read the more scholarly Bible, the one that's closer to the... I grew up with the NIV. So you said that he's there saying like, hey, love everyone, be inclusive, blah, blah, blah. But he says this in verse 5. These 12, his disciples, Jesus sent out with the following instructions. Do not take a road leading to the Gentiles. Do not enter a Samaritan town, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And this isn't the first time he said this. He says this when he calls a Canaanite woman or Zarephaetian woman a dog and says, I'm only here for the lost sheep of Israel, right? He's exclusive, right? He's there for that group. We're only going to your fellow Hebrews. As you go, proclaim the good news. The kingdom of heaven has come near. Cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those with skin disease, cast out demons. You receive without payment, give without payment. These are all the benefits he's going to be giving to the fellow Hebrews. Again, not to the Gentiles, not to the Samaritans. Whatever town or village you enter, find out who in it is worthy. What's that supposed to mean? Because you're saying Jesus is so loving. Come one, come all. Find out who's worthy. Truly, I tell you, it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment than for that town. So that's just a threat. He ends it off with a threat.
Don't try and pull people in who don't want to be there. Don't try and force people to listen to what you're wanting to say.
He's saying, look, if these people don't agree with you, if these people aren't part of our group, the in-group, our tribe, fuck them, right? Yeah. Kick the dust off your feet, and guess what? I'm gonna really punish them on the day of judgment. It's gonna be better for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah. And remember what I did to them. On the day of judgment, these people who rejected you, they're fucked. And you're telling me that this is a God of love and inclusion and, peace and all that? No.
I don't think he's strictly just love and peace. We've had this conversation. But then we can pull forward to Matthew 5, where it says, you've heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbour and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. You therefore must be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. Fight against each other because it's written by man. Sorry? It's not written by God. Because it wasn't written by God. It was written...
Oh, so you just don't take it as the inerrant word of God. You think that parts of these are tampered by people.
No, I think the Bible is 100% tampered. I don't think that there's any word of love from God that's 100% true to the name.
Okay. Maybe the stuff written in the book is not what it seems, and I'm the only one who understands. I'll just ignore what it says because I can. I'm just making it up as I go along. Yeah, it's a choose your own adventure. So that's kind of what you're doing, right? You're just like, I'll just make it whatever I want it to be. And that's really what
hundreds of parts of the Bible that are completely disgusting. And I agree with you. And I think the Bible is absolutely warped, which is why I don't actively stand by it.
How do we know? How do you know that Jesus Christ, whoever that character was, person, whatever, didn't actually not say to love your neighbor or love your enemy, but he actually said the horrible thing that I read, and this thing is the made-up thing?
Then sure, that's the made-up thing. I can tell you hundreds of disgusting things that are in the Bible. You have to, in some sort of way, understand that there is positive in the Bible. You don't have to like the Bible. You can 100% stand by the fact that the cons 100% outweigh the pros.
Do you have your Bible handy?
No, I don't have a Bible
Okay.
anymore.
You don't have a Bible. You don't care about the Bible at all.
I don't stand by the Bible. I think the majority
Yeah.
of it's.
So my topic here is why not dump the Bible? You've dumped it, and I agree with you. You should dump it. The only weird thing that you're doing is you're still, I believe, like you still think that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and did exist. Do you subscribe to that?
I mean, historically, he actively did exist, or there's proof of
There
him.
are many scholars that believe he was a historical person. There was a rabbi named Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Son of God, like the claims, the supernatural claims, the God thing, like you believe that Yahweh existed or there is a God that is described in the Bible that is somewhat true and Jesus Christ is his son and died to save you from your sins?
I think there are essence of the Bible that are true. I don't think that he rolled the rock from his grave. I don't think.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, Faye, you are not really a Christian. You're just somebody that sort of believes some of the Christian stuff because it's comfortable for you and you kind of like it. And that's fine. You're taking the ideas that you think are good out of the Bible, and that's perfectly fine. You can do that. You've already basically dumped the Bible, and I'm on board with you. That's maybe you're going a little further than I would. But I think that that's like a good way, a superficial understanding of the Bible and appreciation for some of the vague ideas in the Bible. Great. Go without God.
I'm just saying because if there's more than one moose, it should be a morse. That's the code. Hi, sorry about that, everyone. I just leftover nonsense. Wow, we have a really special clip coming up here next where we're going to... Brigitte. Hi. Sorry, I was yelling at someone. I didn't realize you're... No, I can focus. That's fine. This is fine. Dr. Joshua Bowen is a real, actual Old Testament scholar who shows up to help us out in this next clip, and he just does a fantastic job of making sense of biblical nonsense. Hey, Brigitte, the Guns of Navarone is playing if you want to maybe go watch it later.
BBDs.
Why do you think I should believe in this God?
Because we are not perfect. There's no way for us, we all have sinned. Sin is the reason that there is evil in the world. It's the reason for all of the negative, bad things that happen.
You're saying that since sin is real, that I should believe in God, but I don't believe in sin.
Well, because we are completed, we are perfected through Jesus. It's impossible for us to be perfect.
Did you hear what I said, though?
Say that again. What did you say?
I don't believe in sin.
You don't believe in sin. Okay.
Right. So if that's the reason I should believe in God, then great. I don't believe in God still because I don't believe in sin.
Okay, so do you believe that lying is a real thing?
Yeah.
Do you understand what sin is?
Yeah, it's like a transgression against God's law or against the universe in some way.
That's the reason that we die. That's
why I don't believe in God, so that doesn't really fit to me. So you'd have to prove God first in order for me to believe sin. Wait, hold on. Does God lie?
No.
Do you read the Bible, Jake?
Yes, I do.
Maybe I'm thinking maybe in Ezekiel.
I think that's where it is.
Where's Ezekiel? Hey, Jake, what page is Ezekiel?
I don't know.
Oh, here we go. Page 710. If a prophet is deceived and speaks a word, I, the Lord, have deceived that prophet. And I will stretch out my hand against him and destroy him from the midst of my people in Israel. So God is saying, I've tricked somebody, I've deceived somebody. Do you think that might be kind of like a lie?
I would have to read the context or get the... So if a prophet spoke a lie...
If a prophet has been deceived and speaks a word, I, the Lord, have deceived that prophet.
And so God doesn't lie, therefore, if there was a prophet, a real prophet, then that would mean that
God is saying, I have lied.
Yeah, so what I'm getting from that is that a real prophet would not lie. You would be called, then God would be a liar, and what's like that wouldn't be like real.
I lost my spot there. My thing fell open to Thessalonians for some reason here. It says here, for this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion, leading them to believe what is false. Now, if I sent a powerful delusion to lead someone to believe something that was false, like let's say like I made a really powerful delusion, like I printed out a fake notarized letter about how I like beat LeBron James in a basketball game. Like that's a pretty powerful illusion, and I deceived like some dumb guest with it. Would you say that I was lying?
Yeah, if you.
Yeah. And so this is saying God does
So,
that.
let's see. All right. Where is this?
2 Thessalonians 2:11. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion, leading them to believe what is false. This kind of seems like maybe God is lying. Like he's saying like that he lies. I don't know. It's just the Bible. I don't believe the Bible, so I don't really have to deal with that, but you might have to.
So I don't believe that God is gonna lie to.
You don't believe the Bible, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you want to turn this into a debate or a study, a Bible study on if God lies, I'm down to do that. Or do you want to just move on to?
But Jake, sorry if I could, if I said to my 6-year-old son, on the day that you eat your broccoli, I will take you to Chuck E. Cheese, and then he ate his broccoli, and then I didn't take him to Chuck E. Cheese, but 3 years later, I took him to Chuck E. Cheese.
Or like
Do you think
900.
that he would say that I was a liar?
Your blockage in believing the Bible, first you have to believe that there's a God. So you're like a full blown, 100% that there is no God.
Did you guys not hear my question?
Would you consider it a lie if Josh like made his kid cry by saying I'll take you to Chuck E. Cheese today and waited 3 years?
Yes, but that would be that's a false equivalency to what we're talking about.
So what's the symmetry breaker?
That going to Chuck E. Cheese is not equivalent to dying.
How is that a symmetry breaker?
Because it's not the same thing.
Because that's just restating the claim.
Josh, which I think this is based off of a real thing. You told your kids you were going to do this and then broke their heart, right?
Yes, this is it's how I roll.
I just want to make sure. Now, you're saying that when Josh said in one day we'll go to Chuck E. Cheese, it was what? A lie or not a lie?
It was not the same thing as you will down the road die.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's definitely not the same thing as that. Yeah. Yeah, if Josh had said you will down the road go to Chuck E. Cheese, and then a few years later they did, then that would be true, right?
Right.
Yeah, but
Jake,
Josh
is
said,
that what you're saying the text says? That down the road you will die?
I think it's saying that you're going to die.
What do you think the phrase in the day means?
God says, in the day that you eat of it, you will surely die, right? So if they eat it in day 2, which day will they die in? Will they die in the day 2 or will they die in the day 4?
Day 1. If that's what it.
No, they're eating it in day 2. Will they die in day 1?
No, if they're eating it in day 2, then if the phrase
in the
you
day.
will not go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh no, we're just moving straight to the God stuff here. So God says, in the day that you eat the apple, you will die, right? So if I put the apple in day 2, so which day do I put? I'm going to also put like an X for when they die. Where should I put it?
So they ate the broccoli on day 2, and Joshua said to his kid, if he eats the broccoli on that day, that he will not go to Chuck E. Cheese on that day.
So, Jake, try, just for a second, forget about Josh's thing. We're going to go straight to God because you're getting that now. So God says to Adam, on the day you eat of the fruit, in the day, you will die. So they eat the fruit on day 2. Which day will they die?
If God meant that you are going to physically pass away, yes, if that is what God meant, then they would have died on that day.
Which,
right?
On 2?
Yes, if that is what God meant.
But these are the same day.
But what happened? But what happened?
Yeah, see, that doesn't follow though, Jake. That's assuming the argument, right?
He's saying that God says things he doesn't mean, like God lies.
Or God meant something else by that.
Yeah, like he
Right. So
said,
how would you,
one thing and meant something else.
if I were to say to my 6-year-old, in the day that you eat your broccoli, I'm going to take you to Chuck E. Cheese, and I didn't take him until 3 years later, and somebody's asking the question, if they were to say, well, obviously Josh didn't mean in the same day, he meant 3 years later, and we know that because he didn't take him on the same day, right? Do you understand how that assumes one of the premises?
Yeah.
Yes, this is a very black and white and I think closed-minded way of looking at the text that we're reading right now.
Yeah.
I don't see how.
Do you want me to explain, or would you guys
Yeah, go
prefer
ahead.
me not to?
No, go ahead.
So the penalty for disobedience was stated, especially forcefully in the original language, with a two-verb construction. Dying, you shall die.
Well,
You
that's
will
not.
certainly
Yeah,
die.
that's not what it
Death would.
says. But
I'm not finished.
I
He's
know, but
Death
you're
would
something.
wrong is the problem.
Death would certainly come to Adam and all humanity after him.
What
But
website
the
are you
death
reading?
but the death that God warned about would be more than physical.
Jake, are you reading
Besides
Answers in
severing-
Genesis?
I'm reading the little in my Bible. I have a text explanation here. So, and this is exactly what I'm trying to explain to you guys. If you
Okay,
would listen.
but Jake, it might not be
So-
a good idea for you to say the original language says X if you don't know the original language, because we're going to press back on that.
And I don't mean
Besides
to like freak you
severing
out,
the-
Jake, but I actually am a like ancient Hebrew scholar, and I do know what the original text said. So
Sin would shatter the harmonious relationship that existed between Adam and his environment, his wife, and God. Although Adam and Eve did not die physically on the day they ate the fruit, they died spiritually, and all their descendants have been spiritually dead unless they are made alive by God's Spirit.
let me just ask
And
you this
then
before we tell you why that isn't what it says. I'm curious because the actual words of the Bible, like the main transcript of the Bible, like the verses, are those God's words? Like, is that the word of God in your opinion?
Yes, it is inspired by God,
the-
and then there are parts where it literally says God said. So
I know, I get you. But are the footnotes and the explanations that are also in each Bible, are those also inspired by God?
I would say that it's examining the text.
Yeah,
Um,
but
I-
I would love for you to explain how
John.
the surrounding 7 verses show spiritual death. That'd be great.
Well, because they didn't die.
I just wanted to really quickly, the reason I asked about the like if the additional verses are also inspired by God, there's a verse near the end of this book that says, I warn everyone who hears the words of the prophecy of this book, if anyone adds to them, God will add that person to the plagues described in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of the book, God will take away that person's share in the tree of life and in the holy city, which are described in this book. So the footnotes and
Cool.
stuff are all like super blasphemous, and you should be a little careful with them. It's probably better to just read God's exact words, but you were going to do that now anyway. So let's go to the surrounding verses. Just be careful not to add just because of the hell.
Adding to the word, wouldn't that be like putting more into the Bible? Wouldn't that be like me writing a book and trying to put it into the Bible?
Like when it says die, you're saying it
Understanding
means spiritual,
what-
like you added the word spiritual there.
I'm understanding what the text is saying.
What is the and obviously I know it because I'm like a Hebrew scholar, but what is the word that for die there that is used in the ancient Hebrew?
I'm not sure.
I mean, let's all say
You know?
let's all say it in unison, Josh and no. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Muth.
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 Yeah, it's muth. Yeah. Is that right? Is it muth?
Pronounced
Yeah, it's
moot,
not
but it's
moot.
spelled moot.
Moot.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that means to spiritually die, Jake. Is that right?
I mean, I don't know what to say here because you're sort of adding your own beliefs to the text, which is exactly what you're arguing against me for doing. Which
Oh no, I
Yeah, but
don't
he's-
believe the text. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, Jake. So here's the thing, man. Like trying to be 100 with you. When you say in answer to the question, did God lie here? And trying to argue that he didn't, and you say, that couldn't have been what it meant because that's not what happened. You realize that's the same as someone saying, well, your father couldn't have meant he was going to take you on the same day, because he didn't take you on the same day, right? It just assumes that God doesn't lie. It assumes that I don't lie, right? And that is the very point under contention.
I think this is just, I mean, we can all examine they did not physically die on
Right.
that day.
We can all examine that I did not take my son to Chuck E. Cheese. That must mean that when I said I'll take you the same day that you eat your broccoli, that I didn't mean the same day.
What you're trying to do, Jake, is
Right.
change the truth, right? Like you're trying to make the truth different in order to fit your worldview. And look, I know we can like
No, that's
we
what
can
you are doing. That's
I know.
literally
I'm totally
exactly
doing it
what
too.
you're doing.
Yeah, we're both doing it, and so we can beat this to death, and we can like talk about it for 100 years.
Yeah, this is just kind of goofy.
The word moot means physical death. They're talking about physically dying in that verse. The word just says that. They didn't think at the time that people were going to add the word spiritual to that. But if I'm being honest with you, like super honest with you, I don't think God said either of the words.
Oh, BBDs.
All right, that was a good one. Dr. Bowen on our podcast. That's incredible. Pretty exciting stuff. We're back, folks, and as you can hear, Mezzo is beside me eating an apple, and it's loud. Mezzo, it's just loud.
Is my mic on?
It's just I hate this. I hate this.
Sorry.
Anyway, I guess we should. Whoa! Holy. Okay. What? Andrew, what are you doing here? I thought you had gone missing. What? Okay. Andrew's here. Are you a ghost? We've had ghosts. Are you a ghost? No. Sorry. Are you a ghost? He can't hear me over your chewing, Mezzo.
Delicious.
Are you a ghost? Okay. I don't think he's a ghost. He seems pretty like real and stuff like that. Anyway, weird stuff's going on. Let's just play the next clip.
Swedish apples.
Everything's fine. A crisis averted. Yeah. Which club, Bridget? Which club? Good. Global. Are you a Christian?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if we can fix that. What do you believe God got right? What did God get right?
Free will, for one.
No, that's way wrong, man.
For one, the reason I say free will, despite the fact that we judge him so harshly, when he did give us free will to make a choice to do wrong or to do right, I think free will is a beautiful thing.
I think free will is a curse, and it's a curse because nothing good comes from it. So for instance, it is due to free will that we are able to have people molesting children. I hate to say it, but people molesting children. It's because of free will that we have greed, which is causing people to starve to death. It is because of free will that people burn in hell for eternity, if you believe that particular thing, right? Free will is the reason for all those things.
In the same turn, free will is with people who make selfless sacrifices for the betterment of others.
Yeah, we wouldn't need that. We wouldn't need
Let me finish.
Okay.
It's also free will that make people go after those who do hurt children in that sort of way. It's free will.
Yeah,
It's
but
free will. Hold on.
those things wouldn't be
Here's
necessary.
Here's the thing. If you believe in God and you believe in everything that's biblical and what he said, then this suffering here is a temporary thing. Now, let me ask you this.
No, hold on. Stop. You can't just keep going. That's called gish galloping, and you get the gish galloping. I got on this conversation, thought we had a destination, but you keep saying things that don't relate. Stay on task. I wish you'd stay on task, so I don't have to boot your ass. If your points were more than vapid, you would not have to gish gallop. Cowboy. All right, cowboy, listen. Let's not gish gallop. Let's do one thing at a time. So the first thing you said was that I wanted to speak to, thank you. free will is, I said free will is the cause of all these horrific things, and you said free will is the reason why we're doing all the good things too. I would ask you to name a good thing that comes from free will that isn't us dealing with all the bad things that come from free will. Because as soon as we get rid of free will, we get rid of all the horrible things I mentioned. So we wouldn't need the people to save the day using their free will.
We get the choice to believe and have faith, and we get the choice to be an atheist and say we don't believe and have faith in any of it. It's all bunk. We have that choice. Tell me, is there anything more significant than the idea that you can make a choice?
If it is the right to make a choice that is the cause of children being hurt by adults in such a way, then I would say that I would rather not have the choice, that the choice is not worth it, that the choice to love God is not worth the harm. So I would abandon my free will. I'd say, take it. If it's going to save one child from being hurt, I would say, take it. Take any choice. I'm fine with it. God got free will wrong. I don't like it.
Here's the thing. You have the right to that. You have the freedom to express that to
I
your
don't
audience.
want it. I don't want it. I want children fed. I want everyone to be a robot. Fed robots. Fed baby robots.
We all want the same thing. We want respect. We want safety of children.
So that's why I'm saying that God got free will wrong. You said free will, he got free will right. I'm saying no. He shouldn't have done free will. He fucked up, and now there's a world full of suffering.
At the end of the day, even if you feel that way, if he truly exists, wherever he exists at, it's still his rules. You were born into his rules.
Fuck him for that.
And he also got right the description of his son, which a lot of people have a problem with.
Who cares about his son? His son isn't fixing all. Okay, so actually, I'll bring this up. You said that, hey, this is all temporary. Remember that part?
There's
all the suffering
is everything.
Yeah, it's just like a temporary little thing that you're dealing with, and then eventually everything's going to be okay, correct?
No, I didn't say little.
All right, well, it's a temporary thing you're dealing with, and then eventually everything's going to be okay.
At some point, depending on how you serve, what you believe.
Do you believe, like in your heart, do you think that Christ's sacrifice was this like beautiful thing? Like, is that what you love about Jesus? Is he did this like, he spent 16 hours or something on the cross, and it was just this great.
No.
You don't care that much about that story? The passion?
I didn't care about the story, but I don't see it as a beautiful thing. It was a horrific crime.
No, but I don't mean like, I love the fact that he was hurt on the cross, but the fact that he did that was a massive sacrifice, and this is how we know what love is.
Okay, yeah.
Is that what you're saying? All right, well then I would raise to you the idea that all pain and suffering on this earth is temporary. So what Jesus did was nothing. It was actually less than what like people usually experience on this earth. If you have someone who's been trafficked for like 5 years from the time they're like 13 to 18 or something, and they've just been abused for that whole time, I'm sorry, but Jesus' sacrifice on the cross was nothing.
Why I disagree?
Nothing. There's people that are born into starvation. Okay. They starve for the first like 5 to 8 years of their life and then die. What Jesus did was fucking nothing. It was a waste of fucking time, and he didn't even have to do it. And yet you'll sit there going, wow, the ugly suffering he had to do. Oh, what a heartbreaking thing. He came down to it's temporary. If the pain of those children is temporary, well, how more temporary is it the sacrifice of Jesus Christ when he comes back after 2.5 days?
I have the most amazing answer, and you're not going to like it at all. But here's the answer.
I bet I could guess it.
If indeed he did make that sacrifice, and that sacrifice saved the entire planet from God's wrath and destruction,
which it didn't.
Then hold on, let me finish. But let's just say for argument's sake that it is true. Then it is greater than any description of suffering that you could ever come up with. If his lashings saved all of humanity, saved everything on this planet from God's wrath once again, then it outweighs anything that you could compare it to.
You are not right.
How?
Because if God is all powerful, then the act of Jesus on the cross was unnecessary, arbitrary, and entirely pointless. So what ends up happening is all these people suffer for no good reason, just because of God's fucking stupid whim, that just because based on his rules that he made up, he killed himself so that he wouldn't have to damn everyone to hell. That does not fix any of the human suffering. Not one little pinch of the human. When I stub my toe, it doesn't fix that.
His total sacrifice saved everything from God's wrath.
No.
It saved everything
First
from
of all,
having
it didn't.
an
And
immediate
secondly,
ending. I said
it wasn't necessary, Global.
I said
It wasn't
How
necessary.
was it not necessary?
Who made the rules?
Exactly. So how can you say it was not necessary?
No, who made the rules?
God made the rules.
Okay, so who decided to kill himself?
Jesus.
Based on the rules, God decided to kill himself
He played
to
by
follow
the
the rules. Yeah, it's completely arbitrary, man. It was unnecessary. Necessary would be something was
According
forcing
to
his
the
hand.
rules.
He forced his own hand. According to rules he made up. That's not necessary. That's the opposite of it. It's arbitrary.
You know why you can't say that? You know why you can't say that?
Why not?
Because if indeed everything that I just said is true, it still is his rules, regardless to how you feel about it.
No, Global, I'm not saying it's good or
he
bad.
gave you
I'm not saying it's
permission
good
to
or
have this
Global.
moment.
Stop. I'm not saying it's good or bad. So you really have to hear me. I'm not saying it was a bad plan. I'm saying it was an unnecessary plan. And the reason why it's unnecessary is because God is the ultimate being and could do anything any way he wants. Just logically, everything is unnecessary. So everything that he does and everything the way it is at his whim. It's just the way he wants it. Nothing has to happen for any particular reason other than he shrugged his shoulders and thought, why not? And that's why it doesn't overcome all the suffering that people go through that they can't help, that they have no control over, that God subjected them to, because his stupid arbitrary sacrifice, quote unquote, meant nothing.
And check this out. This is a beautiful thing about what you just said. It can apply just the same way. If indeed it is everything that he designed it to be, it is at his own personal whim, whether it's a good choice or a bad choice. Your opinion in the whole grand scheme of things doesn't mean nothing, because it's still his will and it will be done.
Because it's all entirely arbitrary. So you just saying might makes right is fine. What you're basically saying is, if God wants to create a world where somebody is born to starve and die, and there's really nothing that is a salve for that the whole free will thing falls flat, it causes all the suffering, and ultimately Jesus Christ does a stupid piece of theater for no good reason.
That's not what happened.
But he wanted to. That's your only argument. Your only argument is, well, what can we say? He still wanted to. That's a failure.
What happened, though, bro. That's not what happened.
What happened?
What actually happened. God created a world and he made enough for everybody to have their share. Now, here's what went wrong. Free will gave people.
We already established that. He got free will wrong. He shouldn't have given us free will.
It's his design.
Let me just say this. No. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather 3 million people die every year from starvation or not have free will?
Wow. Hold on. Let me take that one in.
The stat is 3 million people die from starvation every single year. We can have that, or we could get rid of that, and you don't have free will.
You know what? I would probably give up free will.
Me too.
Well, hold on. When you say give up free will, that means you're giving into a dictatorship, because now you're only going to follow a design, period.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to make a choice. You're not going to be able to go left, because your
fine with
design might say you got to go right,
I'm good with it.
right. Every
Sure.
time. You would make that sacrifice.
Throw me around like a rag doll. As long as we're like stopping the suffering, yeah, let's do it.
That's a selfless act.
Yeah.
That's a very selfless. And I believe you.
If we could get rid of free will and stop the suffering, we would do it. So a good God wouldn't allow this system. The system is flawed under Christian doctrine. So then you have to go, well, why would a good God do that? Free will isn't worth this. So what you're going to end up getting to is it just doesn't make sense. It's incoherent. And that's when you can stop believing in the God.
Now, I'll look at it. You'll say it's incoherent. It doesn't make sense. What I would say to anyone that feels that way, it's probably just too big for your clear understanding. It's too big.
Did we already play this? His ways are higher. Who cares if the world's a mess? His ways are higher. I'm too blessed to be stressed. Is that the cop out? His ways are higher. I'm gonna say it with my chest. His ways are higher. This is a big barbaric test. Just pawns in a game of chess. But it doesn't make me love him less. I'm too blessed to be stressed.
That's true, though.
True. That sucks. That sucks, Global.
Before Joel gets back here, I wanted to remind you really quick, we do have some Bad Bible Debates merch. We have tote bags that have the most horrendous Bible verses on them. Slavery, she-bears eating kids, horse dicks, the rest. There's a bunch of good stuff in there. But for now, you can go to tinyurl.com/BBD shop. That's tinyurl.com/BBDSHOP and check out what we have available right now. Oh, here comes Joel. Oh, hey.
Oh, there you are. Finally, let's do the outro.
Yep, take it away, buddy.
Well, that's it from us. I'm Joel.
I'm Mezzo.
And I'm Joel. And just make sure you follow Bad Bible Debates wherever good podcasts are sold.
Yeah, or wherever you normally hijack them from.
And if you can, like it or leave a comment or anything on whatever platform you're using, please do that too.
That's right, buddy. And be sure to follow me on YouTube and TikTok. That's where we record all of these lives from. So if you want to catch the whole thing live, we got a lot of stuff going on over there.
We're always going live on TikTok and on YouTube. So yeah, definitely follow Mezzo there. And also, hey, look, follow me on TikTok, Joel Reads Bible, or subscribe on YouTube at Joel Reads Bible.
Oh, right. I guess I should say my handle is Mezzo_WS. That's pretty much the same on everything.
That's it from us for now. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Bad Bible Debates.
Dude, I think that went really well.
Actually, you know what? I think that was one of our best.
Oh, I wouldn't say best. I mean, it was okay.
No, I'm not joking.
I really liked your part.
You're so hard on yourself. You know, just listen closer to mine, and maybe you'll get it. You know, I think eventually you will get it. BBD.